asked to do a demo on how I achieve this composite image. So here I am. The image that I purchased was a digital image with just the prop in it. I purchased a couple of these, and what I did is went back to a couple of my newborn sessions and found an image that I thought would look really nice in there, which is this image. So the first thing I did is open my images, obviously, and go to the quick selection tool, which is W, and highlight the baby. You don't have to be perfect with this. Actually, I'm being pretty quick with it here because we're going to refine it. You go up here to the Refine Edge tool. In the Refine Edge tool, you can do marching ants, which I think is the default. I like the overlay because it shows me what I need here. I use the Smart Radius tool, and if you increase it here, you can kind of see where it's going to fine-tune a little bit in here. I still want some of that behind her hair fixed. I'm going to go up maybe to around 250, maybe 200 there. I think it'll be nice. You can see that it missed a little bit of the back here, but we'll correct that once we bring the image in. So we click OK. And once it has what it's selected, you go down to the right here and add a layer mask, and it'll show you kind of what's been selected. For me, I go to, let's tile up my windows so that I can see the image I'm taking and the image I'm putting it in. Go to this image, drag the entire layer from there onto the main composite picture. Consolidate that. So now obviously we have to size her and format her. So first thing we're going to do is flip her horizontally because we want the light coming from the same direction as it is in the image, and you can tell where the light's coming from the shadows down here. So we're going to shrink her down to size, maybe a little bit smaller here, and place her in the image. I might tilt her up a little bit and then bring her, kind of play with it to kind of see what looks most natural, and then place her there. So now I'm going to scroll in. Couple things that are bothering me, particularly over here where you can see the depth of focus on her ruffle is not matching up with some of the fuzz here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my background layer and duplicate it. We'll call that blur, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to filters, go up to the Gaussian blur, and probably about 4 I think is going to be, maybe 5, go up there. Because what I'm looking at is back here. I want this to match, and click OK. Now I don't want the whole thing blurred, so I'm going to go put another mask on there and invert my mask. So now I want to go to the brush tool. B is the shortcut, and I'm just going to paint on here. You know what? It's on 100%, and I don't know that I need that. So I'm going to scroll down, go down, change my opacity, probably around 50% there. It's maybe a little heavier than I'd like. Let's go back to black. Maybe go down to 10% opacity. And kind of paint some of that, open it up a little bit. There we go. So now I'll click it off, and then click it on, click it off, click it on. You can kind of see now that it matches better. The next thing I do is I go back to my layer here, and I want to blend some of this to make it a little bit more natural. So probably going to go to around 20% opacity. And if you remember correctly, she was on the crane backdrop. I'll disable the mask. So this is the backdrop that she was on. So I am going to go to about 20% and change back to white. And I'm going to just lightly paint a little bit of the backdrop to blend it here. Now the important thing is I want it just around the bottom here. I don't want it on the top because I think that cream will show up against the the gray backdrop there. So I kind of like the way that looks. It's a little bit blended better. The last thing I'm going to do here is fine tune her diaper back here where this ruffle, where my Refine Edge tool didn't kind of pick up everything I need. So I'm going to go to 100% opacity. I'm probably going to reduce my hardness probably about 20%. I usually leave mine between 0 and 20. just kind of blend that. I'm on my white brush. And you can see I went a little bit beyond it where I wanted to go there. So I correct that. I'm using the X key to toggle between the black and the white. So I'm on white now, which is the front layer. And you can see there's a little bit more, so I'm going back to black and just kind of fine-tuning that to make it look most natural. So when we zoom out there, you know, baby kind of looks a little bit big for that prop still. So I'm going to shrink her down just a little bit and maybe turn her head a little bit there. I think this is pretty close to what I actually ended up doing. So we'll see here. Yep, here was the original, and this is the one I just did in the 6 minutes that I was with you. Pretty easy. That's it.